The old playbook for brands spending big to, well, buy attention. It just feels like it's failing, doesn't it? Your ad blockers, those ignored sponsored posts,
Yeah.
they kind of prove it. Today, we're diving deep into why and exploring a powerful new model, one where engagement, not just raw attention, is the real currency.
Precisely. I mean, the noise level is just, it's overwhelming. And that traditional trust, it's really eroded. So this deep dive, it's all about community-led growth, CLG for short. It's really about genuine engagement, building trust with your audience, not simply talking at them. That earned connection, that's everything now.
It's such a stark contrast to what we've all grown used to seeing. And you've got data showing this isn't just a hunch, right? That traditional advertising ROI is really dropping.
Oh, absolutely. It truly is. And the sheer scale of the inefficiency is fascinating. Look at this. Global digital ad spend, it soared over $627 billion in 2023. But the average display ad click-through rate, it's languishing at a really dismal 0.47%.
Wow, less than 0.5%.
Yeah, exactly. And get this, in Bangladesh, consumers are even more resistant. We see figures like 67% actively avoiding social media and video ads. That's much higher than the global average. And that directly impacts the bottom line. Customer acquisition costs, AC, in South Asia, shot up 15-20% year over year for a lot of digital businesses. The data is just so clear, you really can't buy trust like you used to. Nielsen found 88% of consumers globally trust peer recommendations over brands.
80%.
And locally. In urban Bangladesh, it's over 90% trusting peers more than, brand-generated content.
Okay, so if buying attention isn't the answer anymore, how does this community-led growth thing actually translate that engagement into, real business outcomes?
Yeah, that's the crucial part. And it's incredibly powerful. So brands that really cultivate strong communities, they report seeing about a 19% increase in customer lifetime value. CLV.
19% higher CLV. That's significant.
It is. Imagine your best customers spending almost 20% more just because they feel connected. And you also see much lower acquisition costs. Companies with strong referral programs, often fueled by their community, they can cut that CAC by 30, even 50%.
Right.
And then there's product development. Communities give you this continuous, authentic feedback loop that lets companies launch new features maybe 2.5 times faster.
2.5 times faster. Yeah. Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. Let's look at some actual examples. How does this work in the real world, maybe globally and closer to home?
Absolutely. So globally, a great example is Figma, the design software. They scaled into this massive company largely without huge ad budgets. Their platform, FigJam, helped build a really vibrant design community. And in 2022, something like 80% of their new users came from organic referrals. They spent less than 1% of revenue on paid ads.
80% organic. Oh, that's amazing. And locally, in Bangladesh?
Locally, look at Dara's Bangladesh. They launched community forums, influencer programs, and what they found was pretty compelling. Products featured in their active forums, they saw 25% higher conversion rates and 15% fewer returns. And their customer acquisition cost for those community-engaged buyers was 40% lower than through traditional ad campaigns.
40% lower SHISI. Those are really undeniable results. Wow. So, okay, for a business here in Bangladesh thinking about this, wanting to implement CLG, what's a practical way to start? What's the roadmap?
It's basically a 4-step framework, and you can definitely tailor it for the Bangladeshi context. First, define your community's purpose. What actually unites your audience? You need to survey customers, really listen on social media. Their purpose has to drive it.
Okay, define the purpose first.
Second, find your initial advocates. Don't just chase big numbers early on. Identify maybe your top 50 most loyal customers. Use your CRM data. Invite them to a private kind of exclusive group.
Start small and focused. Makes sense.
Third, create a dedicated space. Now, for Bangladesh, honestly, a closed Facebook group is often really effective to start. User penetration is just so high there.
Right. Leverage existing platforms.
Exactly. And finally, number 4, empower your community. This is key. Don't just broadcast marketing messages. Encourage user-generated content. Host Q&A sessions with your team. Maybe run some contests. It has to be about genuine connection.
That sounds like a really clear path forward. But I have to ask, it sounds almost, well, a bit too good to be true sometimes. What's the catch? Where do companies struggle with this?
Yeah, it's not without challenges for sure. One big one is a potential loss of control. Negative feedback. It can spread incredibly quickly in a community space. One study showed 45% of consumers might stop buying after just one negative community experience.
Oof, okay. That's a risk.
Definitely. It's also pretty resource intensive. It really requires dedicated community managers. 75% of successful communities have at least one full-time manager. It's not a side job.
Needs real commitment.
And the last big one is measuring ROI. It requires thinking beyond traditional sales metrics. You need to look at things like community sentiment, referral rates, engagement levels, different KPIs.
Right. New strategy, new metrics.
Yeah.
So, okay, pulling this all together, what does this mean for someone listening right now? Maybe a top-level exec or someone just starting their career?
Good question. For those top-level corporate employees, I'd say, audit your marketing spend. Seriously, consider reallocating some of that budget towards building community. Hire dedicated managers, and crucially, make sure you integrate that community feedback right into your product development cycle.
Okay, reallocation and integration.
And for entry-level professionals, maybe graduate students, start building a personal brand around a niche you care about. Acquire skills like community management, maybe data analysis related to community metrics. Then you can propose small, low-cost community pilot projects wherever you work. The demand for these skills is definitely growing fast.
The core message here feels really clear. Advertising, it seems like a diminishing asset. But community, that looks like a compounding one. Trust really is the new currency, and you just have to earn it.
Precisely. And Bangladesh's digital-first youth, combined with that strong culture of peer-to-peer relationships and trust, it makes it incredibly fertile ground for CLG, really the era of just one-way communication. It's over. The question is, are you ready to help lead this change in Bangladesh?
Leaves us all with something to think about. What single small step could you take this week to start earning trust rather than just trying to buy it?